Believe it or not, no matter what you have heard or read online about the real estate market, it is still possible to purchase a home and still get a significant amount of equity. In today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how a client of mine was able to do exactly that when relocating to Las Vegas. It all started earlier this year in February when I got a random DM message looking for a realtor relocating to Las Vegas, found you on TikTok. Now mind you, I get messages like this all the time on social media, but not every time that person is serious about buying a home, so I take these messages with a grain of salt. I responded to the message to set up a buyer's consultation and they responded immediately. Our initial phone conversation was a phone call that took about 30 minutes. During that conversation, I got to learn a little bit about them and what was driving them to relocate to Las Vegas and what exactly are they looking for. They mentioned that they were already pre-approved for $1.2 million and they were selling a ranch-style home in the Tampa, Florida area. Now, typically when someone reaches out to me about having a pre-approval already in hand, I always take that with a grain of salt as well because lenders don't always know locally the market here in Las Vegas. But nonetheless, it was a great conversation and I was ready to help them make their dream come true and relocate to Las Vegas. As a part of my buying process, I require clients to sign a buyer agreement with me in order for me to be their agent. This agreement keeps honest people honest and maintains transparency throughout the entire buying process. Now, when I presented these documents to my clients, they didn't want to sign right away. They felt like it was a little premature for them to sign these documents when they're not ready to move to Las Vegas immediately. Their current ranch-style home was scheduled to close in April and then they wanted to relocate to Las Vegas by May. After they refused to sign the document, they told me that they would sign it as we got closer to that move date of May. But after that initial conversation, I didn't hear anything from them, not a peep. I immediately thought they ghosted me, but as we got closer to that May relocation date for them, they did reach back out and they did sign the documents and they were ready to rock and roll. To start the search process, my clients decided that they were going to drive from Florida all the way to Las Vegas to make it fun for their 4 children. They literally sold or threw away everything they had in Florida and got on the road to Las Vegas. But before they got on the road, we had a conversation on what homes that they wanted to see once they arrived in Las Vegas. The unfortunate part about that is, while they were driving down to Las Vegas, several of the homes that they really wanted to see went under contract and were no longer available. From the time they left Florida to the time they got to Las Vegas, my client's wife was sending me new homes to either add to the list or homes that they wanted to remove from the list. After they got closer to Las Vegas, there were about 5 to 6 homes that they wanted to keep on the list, and those were the ones that they wanted to see when they arrived. One of these homes my clients loved just from the pictures. They loved it so much, they were willing to put in an offer on that home without even seeing it in person. But since they loved it so much, I thought it would be a good idea if I can at least go put eyes on it and I can give them my expert opinion, or I can FaceTime them and walk them through the home for a home tour. This home had only been on the market for a matter of hours, but I noticed that I knew the listing agent and I was able to reach out to her because she worked here at Simply Vegas. I was able to connect with her and get a preview of the home before anyone else. Immediately when I walked through the home, the first thing that I wanted to see was the backyard, and it was incredible. The owner of this home put in nearly $300,000 in upgrades. After I got a chance to walk through the home myself, I then called my clients on FaceTime to show them what I saw. Now, they loved it from the pictures, and then once they saw it on FaceTime, they were still in love. My clients were about 2 days away from arriving to Las Vegas, and we knew that this home wouldn't last very long. The good thing that we had on our side was the listing agent told me that the seller's not going to be reviewing offers until the following week. This gave my clients a chance to arrive in Las Vegas and see the home in person. So they arrived to Las Vegas, they've seen pictures, they've seen it on FaceTime, and then they see it in person, and they are absolutely still in love with it. They were walking through the house making plans for what was going to go where, and all their kids are choosing their rooms. Everyone was making plans for this to be the one. This was the only home that they had seen so far, but I recommended to them that we should still go ahead and go and see the other homes that we had on our list, just in case. Leaving that home, we knew that this was at the top of the list, and any home that we seen after that was gonna have to beat that home. We spent the next few days in Las Vegas looking at homes in Summerlin, Blue Diamond, and the northwest part of Las Vegas. The homes in the northwest were up near Gilcrease Orchard. This is an area of Las Vegas where there are huge homes with large lots, but it's more of the countryside of Las Vegas. Now, mind you, my clients just sold 6 acres in Florida, and they knew that when they came to Vegas, they didn't want to live in that country life again. Now, even though the home we saw in the northwest was gorgeous and they thought it can get the job done, they still didn't like that countryside living. We then looked at another 3-story home in Blue Diamond, and then we saw a new renovated home in Mountain's Edge. The last home on their list was in a community in Summerlin called Reverence. The home that we wanted to see was listed at $1,075,000. After speaking with the listing agent, we found out that the seller was desperate to get out of that home because they're in the military and they got stationed somewhere else and had to relocate quickly. We went to the home, we saw it, and we thought it was fantastic. It had a great view, it had a pool, and it was upgraded. There was, however, another home that was down the street 4 houses down that was listed at $985,000. I asked my clients if they wanted to see that home, but they said no, because they thought the home that they were looking at for $1,075,000 was going to be the one that they were going to buy. To their surprise, they had no idea they were turning down a home that they're going to eventually buy at the end of the home search process. But I'm going to get back to that later. Out of all the homes that we saw, there were two that stood out that we wanted to write an offer on. The first home was the one with the crazy backyard and all the upgrades, and the second one was in Summerlin with the view. On the house that had the crazy backyard, we ended up putting an offer at full price at $950,000. But an additional term that we added was we wanted the furniture because they mentioned they were willing to let go of it. Because I'm the agent that I am, I always do my due diligence on the front end to make sure that I'm doing comps to make sure that we're getting fair value for the home that we're about to purchase. During that process, when I ran comps, I saw that the home that we were potentially going to put in an offer on for $950,000 with the furniture and the crazy backyard was very overpriced. And even though we knew it was overpriced, we still put in an offer at full list price of $950,000. The seller came back to our offer with a counter of asking for an additional $25,000 for the furniture. My clients weren't too happy with this because we felt like the seller was doing a lot of back and forth to get additional money out of us for the furniture on an already overpriced home. After all the back and forth and through negotiations, my clients ended up saying no, that they didn't want to pay extra for the furniture. So yes, the home that they saw in photos, the home that they saw in videos and pictures in person and on FaceTime, then they loved it so much, they walked away from that house and did not want to purchase it. That left the other home in Summerlin that was listed at $1,075,000. And after running comps on that home, I realized that that was overpriced as well. In fact, they had already done a $20,000 price reduction before it was $1,075,000. So I discussed the offer with my clients and we settled on putting in an offer for $1,010,000. The seller ended up countering our offer and asked us to pay $1,035,000. While we were in the process of deciding if we wanted to come up in that price point of paying $1,035,000, I convinced my clients to go down the street 4 houses down to go look at the other home that was listed at $985,000. We met at the home and I got there a little bit before them, and I went inside and looked around and I knew that this potentially might be the one. Once they arrived, I walked outside and met them and I told them, I said, hey, I haven't seen the entire home, but what I have seen, I think it's a good one. After the whole family walked through the home, they came back downstairs and looked at me and said, Chris, this is the one I want. It was listed at $985,000, which is $90,000 less than the house 4 houses down. After talking to the listing agent about this particular home to find out what was causing the seller to sell it, I found out that the seller had got a new job and they had to relocate very quickly. I immediately called my clients and told them that if we want to get this house, we need to write a clean, full price offer. And that's exactly what we did. We were in contract for that home by the end of the day. My clients ended up rejecting the counteroffer from the home down the street because they knew that the one that they were in contract for was a better option. What stood out in this home is functional space. My client needed an office, a pool, a separate bedroom for all their kids, a bedroom downstairs, and an entertainment space. This home had every single box checked and they knew it was the perfect one. By the way, if you're new to my channel or you've been here for a while, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Chris Brown and I'm a real estate advisor with Simply Vegas. Here on my channel, I'll help you find your new home whether you're a local or relocating from somewhere else. I would appreciate it if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so you don't miss any of the good, the bad, the ugly about living in Las Vegas. If you happen to be watching this on a TV, scan the QR code on your screen so you don't miss any of my new upcoming videos. If you would like to speak with me directly, you can reach out by using my contact information linked in the description below. When it comes to negotiating as your agent, that's the most important piece in the whole entire process and why you should work with someone like me. I knew that the home that they were potentially putting in an offer on was significantly undervalued in comparison to the home 4 houses down. I also knew that asking the right questions to the listing agent about the seller and why they were relocating, I knew that they were going to accept the full price offer. My negotiating strategy is always to get you the best deal, but to get you the best deal, you have to ask the right questions to the right people. This is something that I've learned over the years can significantly help you when it comes to buying a home. You need a great negotiator. We've covered a lot in this video, so let's have a quick pop quiz to see how much you've been paying attention. And the first person to answer correctly would get a shout out from me on the channel. Where did my clients relocate to Las Vegas from? Was it A, Utah? Was it B, California? Was it C, Florida? Or was it D, Texas? One of the biggest hurdles that happens when you're buying a home is always going to be the appraisal. That's why in your purchase contract, you have an appraisal contingency because it's one of the ways that you can get it out of the contract. As I mentioned to you earlier in this video, I knew that the home that we were potentially purchasing was undervalued, but that was just my opinion. Now, my opinion and an appraiser's opinion can be one of two things. It can be the same or it can be completely different. And that's why there's always going to be anticipation when you're you're waiting for an appraisal report back when you're buying a home. When an appraisal is ordered, typically the report only comes back to the lender as well as the buyer. The seller and the listing agent are not obligated to know what the home appraised for. I remember the day when my clients called me and told me that their appraisal came in, that I picked up the phone and they were like, hey, the appraisal came back at $1,025,000. I almost dropped my phone because I couldn't believe that they gained $40,000 in equity without doing anything. I knew they got a good deal on this home, but I didn't know it was this good. The fact that my clients uprooted their entire family and drove across the country and fell in love with a home that they didn't get, and then they almost turned away the home that they did get, is a journey within itself. And then you add $40,000 in equity on the home that they actually purchased, and now you have a success story. If there's any key lessons that I learned throughout this process, is definitely to trust the process. You also have to learn that that first home that you really fall in love with probably is not going to be the one that you end up buying. Also, never doubt the true value of a great advisor who's going to help you make educated decisions when you're buying a home. As you begin your home buying process and relocation to Las Vegas, always think long term. The long-term play is always going to be long-term, and short-term is going to be just that. It will be short-lived. For more videos about relocating to Las Vegas or Henderson, click on one of the other videos on the screen. I appreciate you all watching. I'll see you on the next one.